Let's face it, winter sucks for mountain biking. Especially in Canada when things can change so fast. 1 minute everywhere is clear and the next there's a foot of snow on the trails. Netflix becomes your main hobby as you watch The Office again for the 6th time. You seek comfort in old magazines and news websites filled with the content that reminds you of the good times, and others with who you can share your innermost feelings and indulge in the misery of your tormented soul. If riding is a part of your life, the short days and unrideable conditions can start to eat away at you. Well, I guess there's one cycling activity you can still do. The problem is, it's scary, it's painful, and man does it take a lot of motivation to get around to doing. Blech. The indoor turbo trainer. How you used to be hated. Painful, sweaty times going nowhere fast. Probably still watching The Office for the 6th time and draining your brain energy. It sucked. And this is where Zwift comes in. Now, turbo training can be a nightmare, and most of the time you're not going to have a lot of enthusiasm because when you're on a turbo trainer, it can be pretty boring and monotonous, and it's not as fun as mountain biking at all. By having this virtual world where you can ride with other people from possibly, on the other side of the planet from where you are, and also having these training programs built in that are really easy to use, and the racing functionality, we'll take a look at all those now, it makes this turbo experience way better than it's ever been before. Before you start, get yourself at least 2 bottles of water with your favourite electrolytes, some snacks, and the most important item, a towel. So after logging in and syncing up your devices, Zwift does work based on power. Once you've started training with power, you suddenly realise that it's the most important metric when it comes to actually training for on the bike. Now, you can get setups where you don't actually need a power meter. They do it based on cadence and speed of the wheel. But once you start learning about power and using watts to train, you really know that this is the best way of doing it. I've tried training with heart rate before, but actually what you'll notice is that your power is not relative to your heart rate after a while. It's a good starting point, but nothing is better than looking at the watts. So as you can see here on the screen, you've got the power source, heart rate, cadence, and if you've got a controllable trainer, which is the best, luckily enough I have that, it is a game changer for sure. Top tip, don't use Ant Plus. It started off okay when I was using it, but now I just use the Bluetooth compatibility of my laptop and on my trainer, and it's way better. I did find that it was cutting out when you get to higher watts, but it seems to be all fine with Bluetooth. So after you've logged in and you've joined up all your devices, you get here to the starting screen in Zwift. You can see here you can choose your ride type, if you're going to do a workout or if you're just going to ride around Watopia. In this case, that's what we're doing. And you can change the route. So by clicking on change, super easy, you can see where they go around Watopia. And if you've got the mobile link on your phone and you have it, as I do, on top of the handlebars, you can see where you are, see other riders around you, see how far you've got left. It's really useful. So there's so many routes that you can do around here, and really that's where Zwift is so good, because it keeps it fresh all the time with so many different routes that you can take. You're not really going to get bored in a hurry. And so you've got a few here. My personal favourite on this one is the mountain route. There we go. That takes you up all the way to the top of the virtual world of Watopia and back again. Normally I just get to the peak and I'm pretty much done, because it's like about a 12, maybe even a 20% grade on that. It feels exactly like going up a mountain, or as close as you can to being inside your garage for sure. Then you've got other areas. The road to ruins I've just unlocked, because when you get to level 10, There are some areas that they reward you, or even you can just let it randomize, but I wouldn't do that because sometimes it's really flat and you really need that variance when you're going on if you're just doing a ride. It doesn't matter if you're doing a training program, but really think about where you're going, and you can even take down the pretzel, which is the longest and most challenging route all around Zwift. There's a bit of a beast. Over 1,300 meters climbing indoors is pretty brutal. So I've just hit level 10 on here, which also gives you access to this new area. This rewards program is pretty cool. It keeps you motivated. Oh, and a ride on. Look at that. So let's have a look at some of the workouts. So top tip, the first thing that you need to do when you get this, I would recommend, I personally rode for about a week. I did about 3 or so rides, about 150 watts, pretty constant, just to get used to it, or just riding around the world. But you need to do your FTP test, and I recommend doing the shorter one. The longer one is so hard, I couldn't even actually do the test accurately. But this test, the shorter one, it builds you up perfectly, and then for the 20 minutes that are just around here, hopefully the mouse will see that there, that's where you need to hammer it. Well, not hammer it, you need to maintain as best a power output as you can for 20 minutes. Which is way harder than it sounds, for sure. So you'll get that number and then it'll adjust to that number. So on my particular test that I did at the start of the winter, I got 207 watts as my FTP, but I was holding about 218, and then I managed to get a little bit more in the last 30 seconds or so. But I completely collapsed on the floor and I died. This is not a fun thing to do, so you really have to come into it fresh. Some people do more than one, but I couldn't really be bothered with that, and I just did one so I could get on with it. So there's a few different ones on here. I say a few, there's so many. There's really loads. I know a few people really like the John's mix one, or the John's short mix. The Gorby, I heard, is the hardest one to do. I haven't actually got through it. I maybe got to the 4th interval and I had to stop. That's the hardest one. So if you've got less than an hour, I'd recommend starting with those. Now, the best one though, something that I still am yet to get through, is the 10 to 12 week FTP Builder. I've skipped the first and second weeks. You have to be really unfit to have to do those. I imagine if you're so committed to cycling that you want to do indoor turbo training, then you're probably going to be okay. So I jumped straight to week 3. I'm on around week 4 because I've been doing other stuff, but now it's January now, so I'm really going to focus on it. And then just work through here, and the benefits that you get after completing this, it's so noticeable. Even on trail, so for a mountain biker, if you're going over like a carpet of routes, and sometimes it can be really hard, and your cadence is all over the place, but if you spend a bit of time on this turbo trainer and you get used to using it, your pedaling shape, and found I've been able to keep my momentum and go through those sort of patches. So if you're looking where Zwift is actually going to be relevant to mountain biking, that's for sure one, as well as the overall fitness, of course. Well, you can even create your own. So here we are, we've got a new workout, and all you have to do is just drag these bits in. So let's say we want to do some intervals. It's just a quick one. You can change the power output here. So I mean, 103 watts is perfectly okay, but you can change the amount of intervals that you're doing, change the power of the intervals. 255, that's pretty decent. And then right at the end, you can change those, and then a cool down right at the end. You just have to drag those in, and boom, you've immediately set up your own. If you don't like any of the, there's got to be about 100 different workouts. If you don't like any of those, you can even create your own. And if you've got some friends, I've got a couple of friends that do this. They'll pop up right about here on the Join Another Zwifter section, and you can drop into the world right next to where they are. It's a bit annoying that you can't, when you're in the world, that you can't transport yourself to another person. But this is how you get on. This is how you sync up with other people. Or you can just arrange a time to go on and call them up on the phone. I do that a bunch of times. Indoor bike training is a little bit different to what I'm going to be putting out on this channel, but it's so important, especially when you live in a place like Canada that gets snow for a few months of the year. But if you want to see some mountain biking in a much drier place than snowy Canada, hit over here, my trip to Moab, there's a playlist up there, or check out down here for one of my latest videos, and right here, click below to subscribe and leave a like and comment below if you do Zwift and if you want to see some more Zwift content on here. But thanks very much for watching.